There is only one Donald Trump. May his name live forever. So Lindsey Graham isn't just a booster, a supporter. He's a fanboy. Mr. Trump, will you sign my T-shirt? And if he felt that way, it would be fine. When people feel that way, it's okay. We like Donald Trump. But here's the creepy thing. Lindsey Graham is not a Donald Trump fanboy. Lindsey Graham is an enemy of Donald Trump. And we know that not from what he says. Ignore what they say. Watch what they do. Always. This is the same Lindsey Graham who spent 4 years when Trump was president trying to undermine Donald Trump's biggest priorities on the biggest issues, immigration and foreign policy. At one point, Lindsey Graham said Trump's border wall wasn't real. It was a metaphor for border security. Oh, a metaphorical wall. He didn't want Trump to build an actual wall that would prevent actual people from invading an actual country. He wanted a metaphor. Okay, how'd that work? 7 million people later, not very well. Metaphors don't secure your country. And then on foreign policy, Graham became apoplectic when Trump said he wanted to withdraw troops from Syria. He called that decision, quote, a big win for ISIS, as if Trump was on the side of ISIS, as if Trump was supporting snuff videos. Right. So you know who they are inside by the nature of their attacks. Are the attacks fair? Or are they ridiculous slanders on your character? Low people launch low attacks. And then at the height of the COVID pandemic, Lindsey Graham promoted sending billions to Pakistan, not to Baltimore, to Pakistan, because we need to help women open up bank accounts in a country where, quote, life is pretty tough. Oh, like it wasn't pretty tough here. Then Graham tried to sneak in an expansion of the EB-5 visa program into a pandemic aid bill. Now, what is the EB-5 visa program? Well, that's the program that gives green cards to rich foreigners who promise to invest money here. Half of those visa recipients come from China. So when Americans were losing their jobs thanks to a virus that came from China, possibly on purpose, Lindsey Graham was dutifully serving the interests of the Chinese ruling class. So whatever else you say about Lindsey Graham, he is the walking embodiment of neoliberalism. Ignore your own people, your own children, your own drug addicts living on the streets, your own dying middle class, in favor of some theoretical act of virtue in a place you know nothing about. I'm a good person because I've helped people I've never met, even as my own people die. That is neoliberalism. That is Lindsey Graham. And yet, and here's where your head starts to spin, this same man is also campaigning on behalf of the America First candidate, Donald Trump. What? Shouldn't Lindsey Graham be campaigning for people he agrees with, like Mike Pompeo or Nikki Haley? You'd think so. But he was at a Trump rally at exactly the moment that Trump is fighting everything that Lindsey Graham is supporting. Literally, just today, Trump condemned Joe Biden for sending those M1 tanks to Ukraine.
Joe Biden's weakness and incompetence has brought us to the brink of nuclear war, and now Biden is doing what he said 10 months ago would lead to World War III. He is sending in American tanks. It's far past the time for all parties involved to pursue a peaceful end to the war in Ukraine before this already horrific catastrophe spirals out of control and ends up leading, indeed, to World War III. And this would be a war like no other war, because this would be a nuclear war.
Right. So Biden is sending in American tanks, Trump said. Well, yes, Biden is doing that. And he's doing it because Lindsey Graham and a whole lot of other Republicans in Washington, but most prominently Lindsey Graham, gave Biden the cover he needed to do that. So again, for the fifth time, what the hell is this? Why is Lindsey Graham on stage with a man he disagrees with on everything and apparently doesn't even like? Simple. Lindsey Graham believes that Trump may get the Republican nomination, and he is trying to control Donald Trump through flattery. Not through argument or with facts and reason, as you do with adults, but with false praise. These are the politics of the late Ottoman court transplanted to Washington. Tell the ruler what he wants to hear so that you are free to subvert what the ruler wants. There is nothing uglier or more demeaning to all involved. Or, by the way, less democratic. There's nothing more sinister than a flatterer. If you have a choice between a man who wants to punch you in the face or a man who's willing to tell you a lie and claim you're great, choose the guy with the cocked fist every time, because you are less likely to get hurt.